Okay, hello everyone. This is Vicky Verley. I know a lot of you are waiting for the tarot scopes. We're gonna have to do this up a little bit here. I have started them, but they are not ready yet, and it's just not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen until next week. I'm not gonna get it done. I gotta rest a little sometime. And I've been having all these crazy insect things. I don't know if any of you watched the end of the last video. I had the swarms of dragonflies, and then I had this thing with the praying mantis I'm going to show you guys later. But first, let's look at this chart, this eclipse chart, happening on full moon, eclipse, blood moon, I guess, happening on September 27th, 2015, 10:50 p.m. Eastern time, New York time. I opened this thing up 2 or 3 times, and I just said, oh. I just closed it again. I was like, wow. Because the first thing that grabs me is this wow, 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 wow. This, all these oppositions in here, this back and forth, wow, 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 wow. And it really does remind me, every time I look at it, of the robot arms from Lost in Space. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. So I was trying not to have to say that, but that's just what I'm getting out of this. I don't really want to say anybody's in danger, probably not, but that's just like, just look at this. It's wow, 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 wow. And it is sort of accordion-like. If you remember that robot, he had like accordion kind of arms or something, But anyways, let's get down to the real deal here. The real deal is that there's a lot of oppositions going on. We still have all the Libra, mostly Libra Aries, but then we're bringing in the Virgo Pisces stuff. As I talked about last time, that's going to be going on for quite a while itself. I've noticed something, and then there's also and that is the Jupiter Neptune opposition. People have commented before that they like the news stuff, and not that I'm watching the news all the time, but I've taped The View and a couple other shows, so I'm kind of hearing about more current events. It's actually not funny at all, but there's a lot of crap going on. And one of the things I wanted to say, because this eclipse is in Aries, okay? And it's, again, this Aries-Libra thing. And I talked about that Libra thing last time, about the downfall of that energy as being too nicey-nicey and sugarcoating everything and, too self-sacrificing. Well, the downside of Aries is all this, it's Donald Trump to the max. I mean, if you're in America, or if you're paying attention, he is, I don't think he is an Aries. I should have looked up his chart, but he is bringing out that Aries energy. This massive ego, this massive boastful, it's all about me, and, I don't give a crap about anybody else's feelings or anything, not like Libra, not trying to be balanced. It's just all one-sided and pompous arrogance. These are all the negative sides of Aries. I mean, there's good side of Aries too. They're go-getters, and, these great initiators, and there's a lot of good things, but he's kind of brought up, and I feel on a higher level, what's going on here is he's bringing up the absurdity of politics in general. He's like, we're really seeing it raw and truthful. No sugarcoating. There's no sugarcoating, and what he's saying and what he's doing and his behaviors too. This stuff all goes on all the time. It's just it's always slick. And it's always slick, and it's always, there's always some, it's like on the under, it's like passive aggressive or something. It's kind of on the under currents. It's always going on. People think racist stuff all the time, and people, and it's just showing the absurdity of it all. And I think it's also showing how it's just all about money. Because if this guy didn't have money, nobody would be listening to him. And it's like politics in general. And because Libra rules justice. Libra rules justice and government. Well, maybe not government, but I kind of tie justice and government together, politics. So he's really he's doing as a service in a way of bringing this stuff to the surface so we can take a look at it. What a big, dog and pony show it all really is anyway. And how it's all really about money and power struggles anyway. It's not about elected officials doing our bidding. right? That's what it's supposed to be about, right? We elect official to represent our bidding. No, it's a big money, everything that, there's more to this. And he's, taking the brunt of it or whatever, but this is bringing stuff to the surface that we as the collective, I feel, need to look at. I've got a few other points about major events, or at least some Americans and then some world events. Well, first of all, and the Jupiter opposed Neptune. There's been all this flooding all over the place. That's the Neptune. Jupiter is bringing forward Neptune energy, and there's all this flooding happening. So there's another thing that's happening in America. The Saturn has moved into Sag, though. This is another big thing that just happened last night or a day or two ago. It's just happened. So this is ushering in this whole new energy, too. So there's a lot of shifting. There's a lot of shifting and turbulence, and it's an eclipse, and the nodes are going to change sign, and, it's all this stuff. But let's go to this Saturn and Sag as far as world events, or, things that are happening. Well, here in America, there was the woman who wouldn't issue the gay marriage thing. I believe that is totally Saturn and Sag, right there. Because Sagittarius is religion. It's philosophy, religion, our spiritual beliefs. And Saturn is the old paradigm and the old way of doing things. And, that's dying off. It's dying off. And it's taking a long time. It's not going to happen overnight. But there's going to be, with Saturn going into Sag, there's going to be even a more surgence into religion and upheaval over religious dominance and control over people. And that's going to be a thing that's happening here. And the Pope and all that, we got the Pope who's, doing all sorts of things to be inclusive and to bring the church into the, he realizes, that Pope, he realizes that the church is not going to be sustained. The old paradigm, Saturn, is not going to be sustained in our modern age. And, so he's trying to get with the times a little bit here. Then the other thing that is too is Saturn and Sag, because it's long distance travelers and foreigners, is all the refugees over in Europe that are coming through. People, all these European countries, they have all these refugees coming in, and I believe a lot of them, I haven't looked into it that deep, but I do believe that a lot of this has to do with the religious things anyway, over in the countries that they're fleeing from. These wars are based on religious things too, and there's some religious things associated with it. But these are the foreigners. Sag is the foreign people coming into somebody's country, and some people don't like it. But Saturn also says that we have a karmic obligation as a human race. We have karmic obligation to help foreigners, and that could go back to the Trump thing too, how he wants to build the wall and all that stuff, but more so I was really vibing with this towards these refugees. We have a karmic obligation to help people in different countries, or less fortunate than ourselves, or whose lifestyles and beliefs are different from ourselves. And definitely with Sagittarius, those fleeing for religious persecution, and I'm not totally sure if that's all of it. I mean, I don't like to speak about stuff that I don't know a lot about, but I do know that there are refugees fleeing and coming into European countries. That is this, there go, by the grace of God go I, or whatever it is, walking in others' moccasins. In other lifetimes, you were them. We've all been them. We've all been them. We've all been every race. We've all been everything, every religion. We really have. And it's just time to snap out of this stuff. This Aries attitude that it's me and I'm right, and, the negative Aries attitude that it's all about me and my way is the only right way, and I know everything, and I'm a big blowhard, and I'm going to, this huge inflated ego, Mars energy of war and ego. The downside of it, you don't have to comment to say I don't like Aries. I do like Aries. I have several Aries friends from way back. But it's this, my dad was an Aries, but the negative side of it, and it's just being really magnified right now because there's all this intense energy going on in these two polarities that are happening. But it really, I mean, we've got the sun, the inner planets are going to be moving through there. Well, Venus is a little behind because it was retrograde. But, we're going to have the usual every fall time. We're going to get the sun, Mercury, Mars will be joining in. All this stuff's going to move into Libra. But then it's going to be on its way. And the nodes are going to move out in November too. And then we're looking at this Pisces, Virgo stuff. The nodes will be there, Jupiter, Neptune, Chiron. This stuff's all going to be there. And then we're going to get into that. And as I said in the last time, I think this is a lot about, you know, getting to the truth, shattering illusions. But this is the segue. Just as the other new moon was initiating in or indoctrinating in the new moon eclipse that we did the last chart on, this energy of the Neptune / Pisces Virgo energy, this full moon in Aries is ushering out this stuff, this Aries Libra that we've been in for a few years with the nodes and stuff. So this is a big turning point. You know, this whole month of September has been a huge turning point, and we've had the by the time the eclipse comes up, I'm taping this before, but we will have the autumnal equinox, or the cardinal ingress, when the sun does move into the change of seasons. Northern hemisphere, it's the fall, and southern, it's the spring. So there's change is afoot. Change is so afoot this month, and there's, I mean, look at this. It's just like wow, 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 wow. It's just like wow, it'll make you dizzy. It'll get you dizzy watching this crazy stuff. You know, there is this grand trine in fire, but actually it looks like it's talking about the part of fortune. Oh, I see palaces here. So actually, when today I opened it, I did that kind of stood out a little bit to me. That kind of came to the forefront here. So this is Venus, trine Pallas, trine Uranus. As I said in the last one, and I've said before, Uranus and Pallas to me are kind of a similar vibration. They're both very inventive. They're both very freedom. It's freedom. You know, they want to be freedom. They want to break out from conventionality. You know, be unconventional. Go march to the beat of their own drummer. So there's a lot of that going on too. And it's trined with Venus and Leo, that could get to be prideful. So there's, you know, there's a lot of turbulence here, even in the trines and stuff, and it's just like, whew, hold on to your horses here or something, batten down the hatches. I mean, I don't know. I get the feeling, because Donald Trump, you know, whatever sign he is, but he's been kind of representing this overblown Aries, you know, ego energy, Mars confrontationalist energy and everything. I get the feeling like something could really happen here in this eclipse, not to him personally, but I think maybe some of this kind of stuff that he's been sort of the, you know, the representative of is going to sort of come to a head at that time. But again, I feel like our political system needs to be overhauled. This is like a cartoon, overblown version of what's really going on. And again, with the Virgo Neptune, it's like unveiling the truth. Jupiter's in Virgo. A lot, and you know, a lot of stuff that's been Neptune-y, secret, having to do with drugs, even prescription drugs. These things aren't going to be, you know, Virgo's going to find the truth. You know, the Virgo energy in Jupiter and all this stuff's going to go into Virgo. This is going to be deveiled. The veil will be lifted on many things that Neptune may rule over, you know, which is, you know, drugs, alcohol, secrets. I think this stuff has always been there, but it's just been glossed over with a coat of Neptune paint, you know. It's just always been glossed over as... oh, you know, blah, 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 and it's just all this bullshit. And it's, you know, Neptune moves film and television. And these television, it's just starting, but boy, these commercials, you know. And I remember when, boy, back, and people, they're just quoting what they hear on TV, and they believe it to be true. So I think that, you know, I remember one, I'm in the city, you know, and it's an urban area. And these people are having, you know, they're not voting their interest, you know, and I heard I remember this so clearly. It was just like, oh my God. There was this couple at a gas station, and they were arguing back and forth, and it was exactly sound bites of crap that they heard on TV. Somebody said blah, 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 and I remember the girl saying, well, he's a flip-flopper, he, and they're just giggling like, oh, we just aren't we so political? And I'm just like, aren't you so blinded? You're living in poverty. What's the, you know, what do you give a shit about, you know, flip-flopper. You pulled that right off some television commercial. It has nothing to do with your well-being and your life here, you know. And I don't want to get into any specific political arguments, but I just feel like people just, you know, you paint a happy picture and whoever has the most money and blast the most commercials, people just, okay, well, that's what they said on the commercials, so I believe it, that's what I'm going to go vote for. See, I think that's going to, this is all coming for this to be changed. This is all coming for this to be changed. With the Donald and the blown out Aries energy, and then the, you know, Jupiter and Virgo, it's like, well, I'm not just going to believe some bullshit that I hear on TV. I'm not just going to be, not that it's all bullshit, but maybe I'm going to look a little deeper and find out some real facts here. And maybe I'm not going to just believe, you know, a bunch of nonsense in a lot of cases. Yeah, and what I said about the drug commercials, you know, this is crazy. I don't think that those drug commercials should be allowed on TV like that. Especially when they're playing these happy musics surrounding them, like lulling us into accepting it. Oh, this happy music represents something happy or something that I want. They should be playing doom 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 doo 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 doo. You know, be afraid music when they're playing these drug commercials. Because then, if it's not a drug commercial, then it's a, have you been injured and did you take this drug and have brain damage and blah 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 blah. Well, we're suing blah blah blah. So then it's always, you know, yeah, let's take these drugs and we're happy. And then the next thing you know, yeah, did you lose a loved one or did you suffer permanent blah, blah, blah. Well, then they find out that these drugs are bad, you know, then they're going to sue them because they screwed you up. So it's just so crazy, you know, it's just so crazy. And I think Jupiter and Virgo, it's like, get down to reality. What's really going on in so many things. Those are just a couple examples, because Neptune rules over television and it rules over drugs. But it rules over illusions. You know, it rules over a lot of things that we've been illusion or delusional about or fooled. And it's not to say, I'm not to say, you know, it's another thing that I had a big realization about in the one election. This exact topic I was talking about. Like I'm telling you, like you live in poverty. You know, you're not one of the 1%. You're at the bottom of the ladder. And oh no, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, getting to the real truth of it. You know, I forgot what I was going to say. I had another point to make about elections, but maybe I need to move on from that. So I'm just going to let it go. But anyways, I just feel like, you know, what's wrong with being well informed about the truth, you know? You know, all these guys have these, their personal bias and agendas, or their supporters, or whoever are, you know, supporting them. They're all getting money, and he doesn't have to cow down to anybody because he's Donald, because he has his own money. But they all have this. So this is kind of, I think, like a wake-up call to how absurd this whole, you know, thing is, this whole circus of politics. And Virgo, how could you really help people? Because Virgo wants to be a service and really help people. You know, Saturn and Sag, we're going to start really helping people, you know. So there's a big shift afoot here. And these are the final breaths of this patriarchal Aries, male Mars energy, big mouth, blowhard, you know, I'm going to build a wall, I'm going to, you know, start a war, I'm going to blah, 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 blah. No, it's changing, and the illusions are going to be revealed, you know, and I think that's going to happen. I think this is true in our own lives, in our personal lives on this eclipse. Illusions are real. There could be big blow-ups. Some people who have been being on that Libra side, nicey, 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 you know, it's like I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm not going to be nice anymore. I'm not going to wait. A lot of this, I feel like people, you know, you're waiting. Aries doesn't like to wait. Aries wants everything done now, now, now. Go, go, go. So I think a lot of people are going to be like, I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of, you know, being nice all the time and never getting what I want. So there's this big, this energy is pretty intense, pretty intense. I keep wanting to go over to this Pluto, and what is it doing here? Oh, Jupiter's trining Pluto, too. Well, I think that could actually be a good thing, you know, because Pluto is change. Pluto in Capricorn is change in the hierarchy, change in the patriarchy, change in government and long-standing structures and, rules and, the old paradigm, big time. So as Saturn moves into Sag, which is the ruler of Capricorn, that's why I tie these together, and Pluto trines Jupiter in Earth too. So let's get down to Earth. Let's get real here. Earth signs are getting real. They're not drama. Libra and Aries, this could be a lot of drama. Leo, fire, a lot of times that's a lot of drama. Air and fire. Earth is not drama usually. Earth is like, okay, well, how can we practically do, what can be practical solutions that we can implement and we can do to really fix things, Let's tone down the drama and get real, and I think that's going to be a thing as Jupiter comes up and trines Pluto. Get real for change. Okay, we want to see change. Well, let's make a plan. Virgo's going to make a plan. Virgo and Capricorn are going to make a plan, and they're going to carry it out for change. And for Jupiter, which is also the ruler of Sagittarius again, so this is like for the good of all, So this is getting back to for the good of all. Not whoever screams the loudest gets the mostest, or gets their way by throwing tantrums and fits and being an asshole. Just basically, there's going to have to be good for all, real research, real looking into things, dispelling myths and illusions. I mean, we could be dispelling myths and illusions in our own lives too, big time. Because many of us have long time illusions about things in our lives. And this is a big wake-up call. It's a big wake-up call. And it's a big, as I said earlier, the eclipse of the Virgo was ushering in the Virgo energy, the Virgo-Pisces axis that we're going to be engaged in for at least the next couple of years. And then this is ushering out. Full moon eclipses eclipse something out of your life. Almost always, okay? So some things may be eclipsed out of people's lives, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's a purging, it's an elimination. That's what these floods are too. It's a cleansing, I know that people have been devastated in these floods, and I'm not trying to make that a lighthearted thing. But it is a cleansing. It's a symbolic cleansing of... So this is a cleansing and a purging and a releasing. And it may be, pretty harsh. It could be harsh. It could be intense. But it will be good. And then as the dust settles and we get into more of the Virgo, we rebuild. We cleanse away the old and we rebuild the new thing. And with Saturn is about rebuilding a new thing. But with the Jupiter in Virgo and Saturn, this you're going to be building of new things that are good for the greater, higher good of all. Ninth house. Looking at it from a higher perspective with the groundedness of the earth sign energy, earth and water. Okay, I want to... there's so much stuff I want to tell you about. Everybody loves these past life readings. I've been getting a lot of orders from, and they're really cool. I don't think anybody's really doing anything quite like it. If you're into astrology, I'm sure you would enjoy it. I'm enjoying doing them. I'm picking up a lot, and it's been really fun and cool for me, and just a change of pace. Also, you won't have to wait for an appointment. It's just a private video that you can... It's karmic astrology. It looks into your past lives and karma and what you're doing here and your soul's journey. And it's been quite interesting, like I said, for me. Don't forget to check out my homepage here on my channel. You can find out everything about me. You can check out some of my other channels that I have, the music channel, which I also wanted to tell everybody, if anybody out there is wanting to record a Christmas song, I definitely have one. And maybe I could put a link to it later. Yeah, this is going to make music play, I think. Yeah, I have a link to a Christmas song. I'd love to see it get recorded and get on somebody's album. If anybody's getting ready to record any Christmas albums, please check it out. I'll put a link in the video later using YouTube stuff. If you go into that About section, you'll find out everything that is there. It takes you to the Order of the Mandala page, which has all the readings, and everything is on this page for the time being. I did want to real quickly show you guys, and it take you to my RedBubble site with all this cool stuff with the astrology mandalas and cool music stuff that you can get. Please take a few minutes to check that out. I do want to show you guys another video. I did the insect last time. I don't know if anybody stayed tuned for it. But this was outside my door. Look at, there was this giant praying mantis, and it was upside down too, just like the hangman. And it was kind of blurry, but antenna was moving around and their eyes were moving around and stuff. So I gently went out, so it's like hangman, pause. That's why I don't have those readings done, because it was just telling me, you're just pushing too hard, you got to stop. And so I have been pacing myself, which I need to do, you know. And but anyway, so this is the first part. When I was filming it before, as I was ready to leave it out, do you see those antennas moving? And then I gently opened the door, and you know, then I came back, and it was there, but it had changed positions. I don't want to run out of time before I can show you. But I had an issue with my back of this cold weather of the fall and stuff, and these rainy cold weather is starting to come in, and I often have issues with my back during this time. And I've been having a little issues with my back, so it's telling me to stop, you know, and that's a symbol of you're working too hard too, if you have back problems. It's like you're carrying too much on your back. Then I'm down at the lake and I see this guy, it looked just like the Ten of Rods in the tarot, like the Led Zeppelin cover version. He's walking with a stick and he had these sticks on his back. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. So anyways, there's that. Didn't I finish it? Didn't I show the other one too? Oh, darn it. Well, anyways, I do have it here. I'm going to real quick pull it up for you. I thought I had, oh, yeah, I did, but it was another thing. Here he is. So I come back, and there he is like that. She. It's probably a she, because it was really big. She's in that position, which laying down flat is really the only way that my back doesn't hurt, or when it was hurting, you know. So I felt like it was telling me, well, just forget about all these videos. Forget about all this work for a minute. Lay down on your, you know, put your back straight. Lay down. Take it easy. And pause, you know, stop pushing so hard. So that's what I did, and that's why I'm a little late getting this chart out, and I haven't got the other videos out, but I'm working on them, and it's coming soon. So hang on to your hatches here. Hang on, batten down the hatches. Hang on to your whatever that phrase is, because this is a doozy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is a doozy, but if you allow the change, the best way to go with these doozies is to allow the change to happen. Don't fight it. Don't resist it. You know, don't push. You know, don't push too hard. Get in and go with the flow. You know, that's the best way to handle it. Hey, thank you all for watching, liking, sharing, donating, everything you do to keep this channel going. You can make a donation on that Tapestry of Life Manalist page, or if you don't feel like donating, then buy something nice for yourself because you deserve it. Remember that you are love and beauty incarnate, and I'll speak to you soon.